Well, the book is my personal spiritual quest adventure, but also how I met my two shamanic teachers in Peru, and how I ended up moving there to help develop a spirituality center there. Well, I was, I felt led to Peru. I was interested in alternative healing. I was working with a community outreach program in South Africa at the time, and there was somebody who was living in Miami, actually, who came to South Africa and was giving a talk about the Peruvian shaman that he'd been working with for the last 25 years. And I had the opportunity he was just a few months after he'd been in South Africa, he was organizing a gathering in Peru of healers and shamans from different parts of Peru. And I went to that gathering, and that's where I met my two teachers who changed my life. Well, they say that the spiritual axis that used to be in the Himalayas has shifted to the Andes. And in fact, the Dalai Lama came last year and they bought land and they're making a center there, and many spiritual people from the Himalayas have moved are moving to Cusco or have come. And people from all around the world come there, literally. We have more than 1 million tourists from around the world. And my book was published in English and Spanish last year, so just a little more than 1 year ago. And we're in the second printing now, and most of the people that write to me, I've gotten letters, like 120 letters from people from 45 different countries. So it's people from everywhere, all over South America, Latin America, Europe, Australia, Great Britain, Africa. It's an amazing magnet for people that are interested in spiritual things. You know, I'm not really a writer by trade. I co-wrote this book with a girlfriend of mine who is a writer, who really taught me a lot about writing in the course of doing this book. And now I'm starting to think about the second version, or Cusco Act 2, which I'm really looking into the sacred feminine within the Andean spiritual tradition. Because my teachers are both men, and they learn from men. And I've recently met some female shaman, women that live in the mountains, that grew up also with these traditions. And to just see what, if anything, what's the difference in the perspective. So that's my new project. But in the meantime, the story kind of ends. This book ends really with me coming to Peru, although there is an epilogue. And I've been there 7 years now, and the Spirituality Center has begun. We had our first interspiritual gathering last year, and we'll be doing another one in 2008. And I have a conference, a beautiful conference room, 9 meters in diameter, 30 feet, circular glass that overlooks all the mountains that surround my property, and it's a very magical place. Well, I'm from the United States originally, and as I said, I worked for 9 years in South Africa doing this community outreach program, and it was there really that I became more interested in alternative healing and moved to Peru to pursue both the spiritual and healing aspects of the Andean tradition. But I'm also an ordained minister in the United Church of Christ here in the States, and I was an actress and a theatrical producer before I went to theological seminary, so I've had a very interesting life. I have become more of a writer. This was my first book, and as I said, I'm now beginning to write a second one. But I don't really see myself primarily as a writer. I'm much more of a speaker than I am a writer, but it's amazing to me the opportunities that have come from the book. You would think in this time of technology and internet things that people maybe are less interested in books, but it's just not true. It's just amazing, the people that buy the book and read the book, and the connections. I've done a workshop in Sweden, and been invited to Argentina to do a workshop in January, and we had in August at my place in Peru, we had more than 40 people from 8 different countries. So that international connection for me is a really important thing in this time of change and this time of global connection, and the internet is such a fantastic medium for that, to really bring people together in a way that never would have happened before. So I've really enjoyed writing. But for me, it's also an opportunity to really reach out and connect with so many people.